Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. So just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me. This is how to start your own mortgage company and whether or not it's worth it, whether or not you want to do it on your own. Maybe you want to leverage somebody else's operating platform. We're going to dive into kind of the options for you and compare them. But first, I love starting with this slide because ultimately, if you're on this webinar, you're probably feeling the pain of what this slide demonstrates, right? I do a lot of videos on rate transparency. I do a lot of trying to educate loan officers and branch managers on what's going on with their P&Ls and their margins. So look, if you're on this call, most likely you're struggling with what's going on this slide, right? You're having challenges with pricing, and maybe you've moved companies more than once, or you moved companies before and it's not solving your problem, right? And I think this is a really good slide because at the core, this is what shows what the margin setup looks like in each different model. Okay. And if you're over here in this banking model and you're used to selling this 350 basis point rate sheet, right? And now you're saying, okay, hey, I want to go out and I want to go start a company and I'm going to go down on this broker side of the house. What does that all mean? And if you look at all of the things that are in here, like all of the overhead and these things, they're real things that support a company. And it's really important to understand whether or not, one, what those things are and whether or not you really want to tackle all that stuff on your own or not. So, look, if you're here on this webinar, you're clearly looking at options and what your next step is going to be for your next move. I think it's really important that we look at options. So like we were talking about on that first slide, you're frustrated with pricing, you're frustrated with losing loans, and you have this option. You can either kind of stay where you are, move from company to company, and maybe it might fix some of those issues. You can move down into that middle section where, like into a hybrid like Arbor, it's going to fix some of it, or you can go down to the broker level, right? Or kind of like, and again, why we're here at this presentation, maybe you want to start your own mortgage company. So the whole idea today, right, is to take a look at what those options are. What does it look like? Moving to a similar company, joining a mortgage broker, starting your own company from scratch, or plugging into Arbor's DBA platform. So anyways, let's take a look at what those things look like. If you go to a similar company, the challenge of staying in the IMB, this is probably the least attractive option because, look, you're not going to fix the problem. You're still not going to have competitive rates. You'll have inconsistent compensation. They'll keep tinkering around with products, and it's not a very transparent model. So where you might be competitive one day, you won't be competitive the next day. You don't know how much the company's taking from you. You don't know how much your branch manager makes, on and on. And then if you have a contract, you sign into a contract, then you're stuck. I can't tell you how many loan officers we have now at Arbor that had signed contracts, and then they were just completely miserable because they were losing business and had to wait to get out and finally come over. And then I think one that is often overlooked is you don't have any ownership, right? I've always said, look, you as the originator, you own the clients. It's your business. I think it's really important for loan officers to be able to own their business, at a very minimum, own your database. You're the one going into the mine. You're the one chipping out the gold. It needs to go in your bucket, not the company's bucket. And I think you get that if you move down into the broker or start your own company, or even do your DBA type of process through Arbor. Let's take a look at if you were to join a mortgage broker, right? So like we saw on that first slide, you're tired of losing loans on rate, and you decide to move all the way over and you're just going to go join a broker. First thing's great. You're going to enjoy better rates. But the challenge is, right, you'll find that you're going to struggle because there's not a lot of support. Most mortgage broker shops tend to be, owner operator type shops, or especially if they're charging a really small margin, or, they're not providing anything other than licensing, maybe an LOS. And they kind of rely on some of the lenders to provide support, but you're not getting really independent business support. You don't have any direct lending if you join a mortgage broker, so that is a loss of control. You're not going to be able to get your own AMCs. You're not going to be drawing your docs, going to docs early, getting your CDs out early, things like that. You're dependent on third parties, which is a lot of times is a shock to loan officers when they have to rely on outside organizations to get their loan processed. You have less price and deal control because in the broker channel, you have lender paid comp plans with each wholesaler. So that gives you less flexibility on a transaction level to move your price around. And then look, I'll skip down a couple. Like, you're going to wear a ton of hats in the broker channel. It's very similar to kind of starting your own company in that you have to kind of figure out your own IT. You have to figure out your own CRM. You have to figure out your licensing, your marketing, and there's just not a lot of training. Not that if you're an experienced loan officer or branch manager, you don't need a lot of training, but when you're moving the broker channel and now all of a sudden you go from having this singular product line, singular company offering, and now you have, 70, 80, 100 different investors, all these new products, it doesn't hurt to have a training platform that can help you adapt into the new channel. All right, and then let's take a look at the other option, which is you're going to start your own company from scratch. This one, you want to do it yourself. I totally get it. You want your own brand. You want it to be your shop. You don't want to have to listen to anybody anymore tell you how it's got to be. If you go down that path, you've got startup costs. You got to set up your own IT, your own tech stack. You got to get your marketing. You've got to get your office space, etc. Then, right, you've got the sweat equity part. You're gonna be doing a lot of things that don't bring in revenue. So I call it RGA. You're doing a lot of things, doing admin work other than stuff that's revenue generating activity that takes away from your ability to produce, recruit, and do those things. You're going to be starting out as a broker. You don't have any direct lending. You don't have warehouse lines. Those are hard to get. There's definitely some high hurdles before you can start going out and getting your direct lending chops, which then impacts your control that you offer. And then, like I mentioned before, you're wearing a lot of hats, right? Just compliance, IT, call reports, HR, payroll. There's a lot of things that go on the back end of the mortgage company that take a lot of time. State licensing, costs money, takes a lot of time, a lot of expense, a lot of audits. So, it looks great. It sounds great to have your own deal, but it costs a lot of money. Now, granted, I did it 15 years ago and I'm constantly building. I'm still into it and it takes away. I'm an originator too. For those of you that don't know, man, I can tell you, like my originations, I used to do 60 to 85 million a year. And now I'm doing like 30 to 40 million because I'm spending a lot of time running our company as opposed to just focusing solely on originations. Now, is there a better way? Let's take a look at if you were to join Arbor as a DBA. One of the things, we created this DBA platform because when we started Arbor, it's always been an entrepreneur type company. We don't have an ego. It doesn't need to be our logo. We have a lot of powered by teams. We have a lot of straight up DBAs where there's no mention of Arbor. And what that allows, entrepreneurs and people that want to start their own mortgage company, it lets them offload all of that junk that takes away from your sales time. It takes away all the compliance, all the HR, all the IT, all of going out and getting all your broker approvals, maintaining broker approvals, state licenses. We've already done all that for you. What this does is says, look, if you have a great idea, you've got a great brand concept, and you want to go out and market your brand and have it be your shop, we will support you to do that. You're just going to click in and essentially, within 15 days to 30 days, however long it takes to get your DBA up and running, we can load your DBA into our system. We can basically have all the marketing generated for your brand and get your brand out there and promote you and your mortgage company. You get all of the broker relationships, all of the banking, non-delegated correspondent. You get all the support that you get from any Arbor LO or branch manager we have here. You get the same exact support. So I think this coming out and showing you how this really works out here shows you how quickly we can spin up a company, the work that goes into it. I'm in our proprietary CRM. If you look on the right-hand side, we built this branding section. So this gives us the ability to put in any brand that we want, logos, colors, all the rest of it. And what that's going to do is replicate that brand through the CRM. And so what that gives you the ability to do is all of your emails, all of the automations, all the flyers will go out with your name. So if we go into this flyer flipbook, just to kind of give you an idea, you can see how these flyers can change by brand as we kind of move through them. That's what the system is doing automatically. So this isn't some long deal. It moves very quickly. And then as it relates to all of our automations, the big key in a CRM is really marrying. It's one thing, right, to have marketing. It's another thing to have technology. But when you have marketing and technology working together, that's where the magic happens. And so that's really what our marketing automations in our CRM do for you. So you look at all these automations that go out. So all of our in-process automations that go out during a loan, keeping your agents updated, keeping your borrowers updated. It's everything. It's already pre-built. It already can be branded for you. So when I talk about we're ready to go to support your business, it's not just kind of like this up from scratch. We built a system that gets you up and running quick. Anyways, I hope that was a really good visualization for how we take marketing and technology. We basically built it to support the entrepreneur and the business owner. So we really can spin up a company with full tech and full marketing as soon as you can get your DBA. So what this does, and I think what most importantly happens too, is you have total transparency. We tell you what our corporate margin is, right? So you can just build your business and go, right? So you don't have to worry about, okay, I'm doing these I'm doing these call reports. It's taken me forever. I need to hire somebody to do that. You don't need to worry about that. Hey, you need to do open house flyers. You need to do all these product flyers from all these cool new things you have. We've already got it covered. What CRM do I use? I wish it had my database in there. All of those things are already built out for you. You plug your brand in and away you go. All right. So what this does is if you really have visions of scaling your company and you want to scale your company quickly and grow it with loan officers and grow it with more people, we allow you to do that because you can get out of the fray. You've already got a tried and true model that you can plug into. And proof's in the pudding. One, if you want to talk to one of our DBA business owners, I will refer you. Just DM me. I'll connect you with them. You can get a feel for how it is. Like right now, our DBA producers and DBA companies inside of Arbor are producing somewhere between 25 to 30% of our total production. But a lot of times people will say, oh, well, you can't go broker because you can't scale. I can't build my company. I can't help me. That's total nonsense. In fact, we feel that if you tap into our model, because we're going to have better rates, we're going to have better pricing, and I'll put our marketing and automations and what we're building out from a CRM and marketing standpoint, I'll put it up against anybody else out there from data management. It's awesome. So again, if you want to look at what starting a DBA at Arbor would look like to jumpstart your own mortgage company and kind of essentially take all the benefit of 15 years of building a mortgage company into a super broker, and you can basically click in, put your name on it. It's your DBA. We'll give you ownership. We'll sign it over to you. If you ever want to leave, fine, you can take it. It's yours. We're never going to try and take your company, right? We're just here to support you and help you build it. Hopefully you find enough value in that, and we can be partners. So if you want to learn more about how to start your own mortgage company as a DBA under Arbor, just DM me or reach out via email or call, and we can get you going.